This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to your Monday edition of the afternoon show here live on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. I'll be your producer this afternoon and starting off host Logan Landers. Join me as always, Jay McLovin with the See the Nice banner there for Celeste Marie Music. Celeste Marie Wilson Music.com. Jay, it's a mouthful. Of course, you see a link there in the bottom. And of course, down below, we got OG Tony kicking things off. Guys, if you enjoy the show, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live here each and every single day, whether it's the afternoon show, whether it's our other great programs we have here. Best way you can find it is that link tree you see underneath Jay's name, but you can also find it in our description of all of our shows. Just tap on that, explore the page on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, anywhere else you can find us and all of our outstanding content. Of course, as we know, the Winter Games wrapped up yesterday. We have a ton to talk about there, as well as some great NFL news and all the other stuff going on. Big race yesterday in Atlanta and so much for sports content. But I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to have our boy OG Tony to my left bring it up and get things going. So, Tony, how's it going first and foremost? What we got first on the docket?
Well, let's go over the Olympic medal recap. Norway had the most medals with 41, 18 gold. I think that sets a record for gold. Had 12 silver and 11 bronze. USA was next, and I think we set a record. I think 12's the most that we've had in gold also. So did pretty well still. Also had 12 silver and 9 bronze for a total of 33. The Netherlands crept up. Italy was third for a long time, but the Netherlands caught them the last 3 or 4 days. Well, in golds, not overall medals, but they had 10 golds, 7 silver, and 3 bronze for a total of 20. So Italy did have more medals overall, but Italy in fourth with 10 gold, 6 silver, 14 bronze for a total of 30. And then Germany was next with 8 gold, 10 silver, and 8 bronze for a total of 26. The big story coming out of yesterday was the U.S. men's hockey game with Canada. Seen a lot of upset Canadians on Facebook and YouTube and different places. They're a little upset, unhappy with the 3-on-3, but that was the rules for the Olympics. So, it is what it is. It was the same for both teams. Great game, fantastic game. The men's team did an outstanding job. I thought they handled it with class. Also, paying homage to one of their fallen teammates. Some of the guys did. So I thought that was very well done, bringing their kids out on the ice. So a great game. I really enjoyed it. What do you guys think about that big win for USA? Jay?
Logan, you're first. I'll go first. First,
okay.
It's okay. First, I want to recognize Joe. He says, "What's up, guys? Hey, what's up, Joe? Man, appreciate you always logging in and hanging out with us. For you guys that don't know, Joe lives in Italy, and he is a representative as a great game USA hockey team. Absolutely appreciate that, Joe. Man, we really do appreciate that. But obviously, Joe is a representative of the host country, Italy, Milan, that hosted the Olympics. So, Joe, we appreciate you guys. And you did really, really well as a host country. You came in third. Very, very respectable for the host country to do that well. USA obviously came in at second. I felt like we had a really, really, really good showing. And Norway. Look, guys, ain't nobody taking Norway out in the Winter Olympics. These dudes live year in and year out in snow. It's all they do in their life is Winter Olympics. And you talk about cross-country skiing, Logan, if they want to go to their Walmart, they're doing it cross-country skiing style. So there's no way that we are going to beat Norway when all they know is snow. I mean, that's impossible to beat that home country or that country. So congratulations to Norway. You guys represented well. I felt one of the things I thought, Logan and Tony, that really resonated big in me. I'm a big person that karma is a hell of a thing. And obviously Canada has been shrouded in controversy. I don't think anybody here on this panel, I don't think anybody here in the viewing audience doesn't know that Canada was shrouded in controversy, especially in the curling. Everything about curling had Canada's name written all over it. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard the Olympics when they were done in Canada, how much we were booed as American team. We were booed by the Canadian audience. And I can't think of a better thank you, a better homage to the people of Canada than to beat them twice. Not only in the women's, but in the men's. And we did it in dramatic fashion. 3-on-3 and overtime, baby. We left nothing left to be talked about. We left nothing left to be talked about on the table. We came in, we kicked ass. Slovakia had one thing going for them. They had an aggressive, physical style. And we saw that in the game that preceded the gold game, where Slovakia really gave us the business in those first opening minutes. If you guys counted, I think it was 2 fights, a lot of chippiness, a lot of man-on-man checking. There was a lot of physical play by Slovakia, and they really gave us a mouthful. But at the end of the day, they were not matched for our technical abilities. And I got to tell you, Jack Hughes, I salute you. I salute you, Jack Hughes, because you really came out and showed out in the hockey realm. And if you don't know who Jack Hughes is, I guarantee you know who he is now. If you watch the Olympics, you know exactly who Jack Hughes is. And New Jersey Devils, if he gives you that level of performance that he gave at the USA team, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I got to tell you, guys, I've never been so patriotic in my life than watching the U.S. hockey team do what they did. It was absolutely amazing. Logan?
No, I mean, you hit all the main points there, and obviously watching the gold medal game. What really both of them, right? The women we talked about last week and whatnot, and we already gave our flowers to them and the tremendous job they did. But for the men, like I said, a tough route. They had a few close games early on, but boy, they pulled off when it matters most. And like I said, there's of course going to be some complaining, and there's going to be some, oh, what about this call? Well, what about this one? How come you didn't do this? Look, that's all loser talk, okay? That's what you say if you lose. You don't say that if you win. And, for the U.S., they took care of business. Like I said, it went to the overtime, went to 3v3. And like I said, you mentioned Jack Hughes. And, I mean, obviously, he scored the game-winning goal. He's going to get all the glory. His brother Quinn, great work as well on the team. And all of the representatives that were on Team USA. But you heard in the post-game interviews, it was giving the flowers to their goalie. And if it wasn't for the goalie, especially with that one save where you saw he had the stick right behind him, he's on his head basically. I mean, if he hadn't saved that, we might be talking about us getting a silver medal, not a gold medal. And you saw he used it with the bloody mouth because he got high sticked, chipped his tooth. You saw him with the it's actually the cover photo here for our thumbnail. Tim with the flag draped around him with the bloody mouth, holding it up, and just as proud as he can be, knowing that they got it done. They won the gold. And guys, I mean, that was the first gold medal game we had won for men's hockey since I wasn't around for this one, 1980, as we all know, against Soviet Union. And big game in that one. I don't know what it is. It's just whatever. Is it just men's hockey in the Winter Olympics where there's always these big factors or memorable moments? I mean, they've won a handful of times. It's been 40 plus years since they'd done it, and they did it with some dramatic flair. But just great work all around. And like you said, hats off to Norway. Obviously, they won with the most amount of medals, but I don't think anyone is surprised that they had the most amount. Like Jay said, they're in snow, they're in icy conditions year round. I mean, really, for the USA to finish in second, I mean, I feel good about that. I feel proud about that, knowing that we beat a whole slew of other countries that train in these conditions a lot more than the U.S. athletes do, right? And with all of the fanfare going around with really every single sport, I would say the USA was at least competitive in. If you didn't medal, a bronze, or excuse me, a gold or a silver, then you had people on there who were very close. It wasn't like we got blown out really in many competitions over the span of the Olympic Games, whether it was ice skating, whether it was bobsledding, whether it was the hockey, whether it was the half pipe, the freestyle with all the skiing events. The U.S. was always, if not on top, they were near the top, and they were fighting for a good spot. And I mean, that's really all you can ask for with any Olympics, whether it be the Summer Games, which are going to be in now 28, so a couple of years from now, or the Winter Games, like we saw here. You just want to see, obviously, you want to represent your country, and to all the athletes who donned the red, white, and blue over the past couple of weeks and trained years for this. At least the three of us, I know all the ESEN people we have on our crew, proud of you. And you showed out. You did a tremendous job. And like I said, there's no reason to hang your head. Just know you did your country proud, and you did a fantastic job. We have Joe here saying first time he's seen a whole hockey game, and he's so happy USA won. First one since 1980. And we know obviously that one's going to be talked. It's been talked about for years up to this. And now the 2026 games are going to kind of live in that lore as well. And you love to see that.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was fantastic, guys. We also got some medals yesterday, also in freestyle skiing in the mixed team event. We got a gold there. Maybe a little bit of surprise there that we got that there, and then also in freestyle skiing, we got a gold. Also, Ferreira from the USA got a medal. So I feel like Logan said, I feel like we did pretty well. I think that we're catching. I don't know if catching up, but competing very well in a lot of events. I think that we have trouble with. One of them that we dominated at one time is the of course, snowboarding. One time we were one of the best teams around, and Japan and some of the other teams have caught us. But the other event is that we struggle in, and that's the cross country skiing. That kind of skiing is just we're behind the other countries, and again, that's something I don't think we have a lot of events like that over here. So so I think we're behind there. But I thought we did a great job. Figure skating is always a tough event. Like so, we had the favorite in the men's who fell a little bit short. I know Jay wanted to bring that up. The gentleman, I guess, did a encore performance or whatever. Probably part of the celebration of the closing games. Probably they do that at the skating rink. So Jay, what do you want to talk about there?
Mike.
You're muted, Jay.
I know it's a production issue on my point. I try not to interrupt anybody. It's a Gonzo rule, and I'm just now very, very much wanting to mute the hell out of myself so I don't interrupt anybody because let's be honest, Jay tends to talk a lot. That's besides the point. And Logan, if you could please do me a favor, I'm going to come back to this. And as I give my speech, if you could look up his name, because I don't want to mess up his name real quick. If you could just look up the name of the American skater that I'm talking about, that would be really hugely beneficial. I know it starts with an M. I know his first name starts with an I. So for right now, until Logan gets me the name, I think we all know who he is. His nickname is called the Quad God. So I'm going to go with that until Logan can give me his official name. Quad God is who I'm referring to. He's obviously a 21-year-old blonde-headed young kid that's out there doing his all. And there you go. There's his name, Malinin. Ilya Malinin. I'm going to go with that. That's the best I can say of it. If you guys can pronounce that better, please do so. And please pardon me for my ignorance and being able to pronounce his name correctly. But with that being said, if you know about the free skate men's, when he first started, he was a highly favorited, dominant guy. Like he's the guy. He's the Michael Jordan of skating. That when he came into it, that's the level of prestige that was put upon him. Now this kid's only 21. Logan, I remember 21 years of age. I remember my mindset at 21 years of age, and I don't know that you fully can handle pressure situations at 21 because you're just still figuring out who you are at the age of 21. I mean, you just turned legal. You probably had your first beer, quote unquote, first beer at 21. So I think about that mindset, the mindset of a 21-year-old going amongst the biggest crowd ever in a sport that only gets done every 4 years. So it's not like you're going to come back next week and have another performance if you make a mistake. You don't have that luxury. So every time you compete in the Olympics, it's a very, very big pressurized deal because you only get one chance every 4. And you don't necessarily maybe make qualifying sometimes every 4. I don't know. The competition gets better. Maybe you don't make qualifying next time around. I don't know. But what I do know is this. He's a very highly technical person. And most people, they go out there and do the sport of figure skating, at least from what I've seen, they'll give you a couple of jumps left or right. They'll do one of those things where they spin. They'll do that thing where they go down into some kind of squat and spin. They'll do some kind of axle thing where they go on one leg, and they'll do a couple of those, and it's good. It is what it is. Okay, that's great, and it looks nice, and it may make you to a good score. But does it make you technically the best skater out there? Did you really put it all on the line on a basic, safe routine? I don't think so. I think a basic, safe routine could possibly get you gold, but does it make you the quote-unquote GOAT of the sport? Does it make you the Hamilton of the sport? I don't necessarily agree that it does. I think sometimes you have to take certain risks to be considered the GOAT of ice skating. And I think this young man had a routine that was so much more difficult than everybody else's routine out there. Now, Logan, I don't watch a lot of figure skating. I don't know if you do, Tony. I don't know how much figure skating you watch. Maybe between the three of us, maybe watch a little bit. But I've never, ever seen a man do a flip on a pair of ice skates. I've never seen that. I don't care if it's women. I don't care if it's men. I've never seen anybody do a flip in air on a pair of skates. Now, Logan, I will tell you this. I've done ice skating at the Galleria as a amateur first-time guy on skates. And I got to be honest with you, Logan, it's so hard. It's so hard. I can't even stand upright on a pair of skates, much less do a flip. You ask me to do a flip, yeah. I'm going to tell you that's a short way to Jason committing suicide and death on a pair of skates, honestly. So I understand that magnitude. I understand what it takes to do something like that because I've experienced ice skating personally, and it is so damn hard. And then you want to tell me you're going to throw a flip on a pair of skates? I can't even do a pair of flips on 2 good feet and dry grass, much less on a pair of skates. What I'm trying to say is this. His routine was so sophisticated, so technically precise. Yeah, the guy fell. But you know what? If you notice his routine and you see him fall, you know what? Okay, I'm going to give you one because I understand the difficulty that you put in that routine. He didn't play the safe route. He didn't go the route of maybe Olympics prior to where they do a little bit more safer number of jumps or safer number of axles or whatever, or spins. This guy put a lot of precision into that workout. And at 21 years of age, on the biggest stage effort, he took a risk. And maybe that on the initial first skate, that risk didn't pay off. Maybe he fell once or twice, and maybe that cost him. But I do know this. When I saw that last skate that he did, now, guys, he did it to a song that's based on fear. And if you heard him in the first press conference, he talked about the fear and the pressure that he was under on the first 2 skates. Now, the second skate, he got gold. The first skate, he did not. But here's the thing, and this is what I take away from this Olympics, and this is what I take away in life. If you put your life on the line, if you put the risk of everything that you are working for on the line at 21 years old, the level of maturity it takes to do that is the maturity that maybe most people don't have. Maybe a confidence in who they are, they don't have. You can play it safe and get gold, or you can go risky and maybe not get gold. But the point that I'm trying to make is that kid had guts. He had guts that far supersedes the guts that I would have to go on a national platform once every 4 at 21 years of age to do. And I think that is the biggest takeaway that I took away from him. And I will tell you, if anybody that watched the Olympics, you saw his last skate. And his last skate was based on a song that talked about fear. And he went out there and said, you know what? I messed up. I crumbled to the pressure. But you know what? It's not how I started. It's all about how I finished. And the way that young man finished is a way that I don't think you could have wrote that storyline any better on any famous novel on New York's best sellers list ever. You couldn't have written that script any better. He went out there on a song called About Fear, and he put everything on the line. He did the flips, he did the axles, he did the quads, and all the other things. I mean, he did it all out there, and he did it in a way that was so beautiful and so majestic. And he didn't fall one time, and he took gold in that. So to you, Mr. Milan, I salute you. I salute you because you know why? You encompass what it means to be American. And that is the best representation of this country that I could have ever seen at any Olympic on any scale. I salute you because you're exactly what American embodies. That's all I got, Logan. The quad god, baby.
Logan, you got anything for that?
Yeah, like you said, he came into the Olympics a heavy favorite. A lot of people expected him to take gold in his individual sport. And like I said, he had those untimely falls, but I mean, let's be real here. If any of us would have done that, we would have fell just trying to get onto the ice, let alone doing a backflip, which I had never seen before. Like, to your point, Jay, I'd never seen anyone, I've seen all the twists and turns, which it's still insane to watch, but I've never seen an actual backflip, which ain't no way. I break every portion of my knee you could think of if I tried that. Like so with his final skate there, just kind of in the closing ceremonies as we saw yesterday, he had the performance to build off of, right? Did do great in the competition, did phenomenal with no pressure on him, just was able to go out there and enjoy himself and get rid of all of that kind of negative press and talk about him that had been there, after the events had ended. And I'm excited because, like I said, he's only 21. So he's going to get older. He's going to get better. He's going to get stronger. And I'm excited to see how he's going to do in the next Winter Games and just how much better he can get, which if he already has a nickname and he's already doing as good as he is, that's scary for the other countries. And all representing Team USA, we're all hoping that he does a fantastic job in the next Winter Olympics. But just some, other ins and outs just from the games. Like I said, obviously the men's hockey got all the love the other day. I want to give a shout out to the bobsled team, monobob as well. Lana Myers-Taylor, my hometown, Douglasville, Georgia, represents, wins it in her 40s, first gold medal. Had her two sons there celebrating. And it's just an awesome moment to see. She builds her own bobsleds as well. She has a company that builds her own bobsleds. So awesome to see that. And I don't think we mentioned with the Team USA with the win last night. They had brought out, you mentioned Johnny Gaudreau, who unfortunately passed away in a car accident. They did bring out they had his jersey in the locker room the whole time, which was very classy. They brought out his son, I believe, at the end to get that team photo, held the jersey up. So that was just a really cool moment to see, kind of a full circle type of moment for obviously a lot of the players who knew of him or played with him in years past, and just a kind of a nice cherry on top for Team USA to get that great moment there that'll live on forever. But overall, just a fantastic Olympics for the majority of those. But I know we do have some unfortunate news for one. Lindsey Vonn, we're going to talk about that. Boy, she really escaped a really bad ending after, as we know, we talked about before the Olympics, she had gotten hurt. She said, I'm going to grit through it, and try my best, go in it and do the Olympics. And unfortunately, we saw she got hurt very early in her run. And guys, it just came out earlier today that if it hadn't been for, the quick response for all of medical personnel and the surgeons and everyone involved in that she could potentially have had an amputation to her leg. So she, she said in a statement basically that she thanks all those involved for their quick response and timeliness and, like I said, saving her leg. And I believe she's had 5 surgeries or so once, with that accident. And I think so. She also broke her, I believe, left ankle as well. So she was just, like I said, a absolute Olympic legend. Hoping to get one more run at this year. Just an ending you don't want to see, you never want to see. But we're glad that she's recovering now, and that now she can get back fully rehabbing and just getting just back to full use. But just credit to all the this isn't just to her doctors, but I mean it's to everyone, all the training staff, all the ones who fill up the waters, who make sure the skates are as sharp as they can be, who make sure the towels are looking good, make sure that all the helmets and just it's a whole team event, right? It's not just the individuals, it's not just the teams we see, the names we see on the jerseys. It's as a collective, as a country, with everyone involved, the coaches. It's just our kind of thank you to all you did and entertaining us, and not just in the U.S. but across the world with how well y'all did in the past Olympic Games.
One thing I want to say before, Tony, I give it back to you real quick, just as we're talking about Olympics. I want to talk about Lindsey Vonn super quick too, but I want to say one quick shout out to Joe. Joe, I think this is something that I really take a lot of happiness in when I see somebody post this. Joe says, yes, I love both my country and I love the USA also. And Joe, that means a lot. It means a lot for a couple of reasons. As a Texican, and Joe, by proxy, you are now a Texican. You're from Texas. I know you live in Galveston. Texas has dual citizenship. Now you ask, why you got dual citizenship? Because we were a republic before we were a state. So you are a citizen of Texas, and you are a citizen of the United States, and you live in Italy. And we appreciate your support towards the United States, because we know that you also are a member of our country. Even though you may live in Italy, you are a Texican and you are a United States citizen. We appreciate you, Joe. Thank you. In terms of Lindsey Vonn, man, I don't know, man, Logan. The seriousness of that accident, I don't know that I understood it quite fully. I knew she had a leg injury. I knew she had an ACL injury. I didn't know the extent of how bad it was. I mean, we're talking about Alex Smith. We're talking about Joe Theismann type of seriousness to your leg, right? I mean, this woman could have been walked away with it with just one leg. And I don't know how that would have affected me as a person. Like if I would have lost my leg over this, that's a big sacrifice that she made to represent her country. And again, Lindsey Vonn, I'm thankful that you have your leg. I'm thankful that you represent the U.S. to the best of your possible abilities. And it's people like you that inspire people like me to want to do the best I can for my country. Lindsey Vonn, I appreciate you, man. And speedy recovery. I know you're not ever probably going to skate again. There's no way you're ever going to skate again. But this country will never forget all the gold medals that you've won in the face of this country. And Michael Phelps, you're right there too, baby.
Guys, after the injury, now things may have changed now since the serious of the injury, but after the injury, she had already had 2 or 3 surgeries. Her plan was she planned to come back and try to make the Olympics again in 2030. Now, I also know that her manager said that the management team was going to try to talk her out of that. But now with the seriousness of the injury, like Jay said, she might not even be able to. Who knows? But that was her plan. She planned on getting back and trying to come back. So we'll follow that and see what happens there. Another real quick thing, guys, we did a lot of viewers tuned in 23.9 million viewers per night was the average, and that's up since the most watched since 2014. So a lot of people tuned in, so that's awesome. And one real quick thing, man, it just amazes me, especially with the hockey teams and the men's hockey team. A lot of these guys play in the NHL and are making pretty good money, but you could see how hard that they wanted to win for their countries, what it meant
for sure
for them. And it's not about the medal. I mean, I guess it is, but you know what I mean. It's more about the honor of winning and for your country. So that's pretty amazing that some of these guys making millions of dollars, put their heart and soul out there in that game. Like they said earlier, the goalie was fantastic. It was a fantastic Olympics. I'm going to miss it. I liked watching the Olympics for 2 weeks.
Can I say one more thing?
Same thing. Yeah, go ahead.
This is really what really drives home for me how special the men's hockey. Not that the women's isn't special. The women's hockey is special in its own right.
Yep.
But when we're talking about men's hockey, do you realize 3 of the top NHL athletes was on Team Canada?
Yeah.
3 of the top athletes in men's hockey was on Canada, and we beat them. And what
Including the
really,
MVP with McDavid.
Exactly. That's. I'm glad you said that. McDavid is number 97. If you don't know McDavid, maybe you know his number. His jersey number is number 97. McDavid is considered to be the best hockey player in all of the NHL, and we beat him. That's pretty significant, Logan. And Tony, I want to link that conversation to a conversation that we've had in the past. And the conversation we've had in the past was culture versus talent. I will tell you right now, I firmly believe that Canada had all the talent, but we had all the culture. And it's our culture and who we are as American hockey players and NHL. It's that culture. It's that chemistry. It's that love. It's a Gaudreau who passed away and was exonerated by his child holding his jersey. It's that chemistry, Tony. It's that chemistry, Logan, that can overcome talent. And that's what we did. We embodied the American spirit as best as you can embody it. And that's what makes America so great. I love my country. I love my country more than anything.
So can we rename hockey ice football now? I've been seeing that all around with various memes that have been shared. And also, too, just want to put out with McDavid here, and we can move on here. Always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. And I say that he won the MVP here for the Olympics, didn't win the gold. Let's go back to the finals. Won the MVP, didn't win the Stanley Cup. I mean, look, there's no question he's the top player and has been for years. But I mean, guys, he is in that conversation now with all the other various greats and all the other sports of fantastic players, you know, MVP award winners, always go into the All-Star games, always in, you know, contention for, you know, top awards, top goals, you know, everything like that. But just has yet, and like I said, his career's still going on, has yet to win the big one.
Let me ask you this, Logan.
NHL and now in the Olympics.
How much crying did you hear McDavid do when they lost? It's all over the internet. It's all over the internet. McDavid is crying to the left and he's crying to the right. I'm sorry. Wah, you lost. Deal with it. I hate that's what they don't mind. Look, if you take a loss, take the loss. Own it. Don't cry about it. Because I'll be honest with you, if the USA would have taken the loss, we're not crying. We take the loss. We just take the loss. I hate when somebody cries about it afterwards. Here's my thing. Canada, right, has taken a big PR hit with the whole curling incident.
Yep. And
then after the curling incident, you want to cry about the loss that you just took with the Americans in hockey. Bubba, don't cry. Don't cry. Come on, man. Be stronger than that. Be better than that. That's the part that bothers me. It's the crying of it all.
I feel like I put this on the screen here.
No. I appreciate that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Man who thought he lost all hope loses last additional bit of hope. He didn't even know he still had. What a time to be alive.
Hey, but you know, they got those stuffed teddy bears. Hold
on. And you listen. Canada. How weak you look to be. I'm sorry, Tony. We have now ended our theatrics. Please continue the next topic.
What a wrap on the Olympics. What we got?
got a couple more things. I'm gonna save the sad one for last.
Okay.
Don't want to bring things down quite
Mhm.
yet. Let's go to NASCAR, guys.
Yeah.
Me and my wife watched the last 80 laps of the race, and I tell you what, it was a pretty good race. It was a pretty awesome race. It was the Auto Tracker 400. Tyler Reddick winning that race, his second win in a row in NASCAR. Chase Briscoe was second. He's my guy. I hadn't followed NASCAR, so I asked Glenn last year, who should I follow? And he said, well, what about Briscoe? He's from Indiana. So he became my driver last year. So he got second. Chastain got third. A lot of wrecks, guys. I think on the final, got down to the end where they had to go in overtime and they do 2 laps. There was only 10 cars left. That's all was left because everybody else had got knocked out. But it was a fantastic race. Reddick's team doing very well. Of course, Michael Jordan's a big part of that team and other people. But yeah, it was very enjoyable. I don't watch a lot of NASCAR. There wasn't a lot on yesterday, but I really enjoyed it. You guys got any thoughts on that?
My first thought is, where is Chumba Casino?
Think of the app, like a betting app.
Is that what it is? Is that a betting app or an actual casino?
It might just be like
I think
online betting only, I believe.
I'm just curious because I've never heard of Chumba Casino. I didn't know if that was an actual casino or if it was, like you said, a betting app. But anyway, my thoughts on that real quick, Logan, I'm going to make it super quick, is number one, Team Jordan and this racer specifically gets their second win in a row. I mean, how incredible is that? Number one for Jordan. Number two for Denny Hamlin as his second partner. But really, how important is it for the ownership of the 3 trifecta of Bubba Wallace with the other 2? I mean, honestly, guys, racing history. American history itself is not exactly the prettiest of histories. Sometimes history repeats itself, and I think it's repeated itself with Bubba Wallace and NASCAR. I'm not going to specifics. I think anybody that follows NASCAR knows exactly what I'm talking about. So when I see a guy like Bubba Wallace, who has had the hard journey in American racing that he's been on, had that level of victory, that level of success, that means a lot to me because it really means a lot, I think, to the sport of racing, that no matter what life gives you, you can overcome. And Bubba Wallace, you've overcome it. Michael Jordan, you're still the GOAT. And Hamlin, maybe you're just along for the ride. Let's go.
Yeah, I found a clip here of Reddick getting the win. And man, like I said, also makes history, right? Wins back-to-back races to start the year. I mean, you can't get a whole lot off to a better start than that. Especially because we know NASCAR changed their playoff format as well. It's not you win a race, you're in. They don't change that. So he's already kind of saying, all right, who cares about the old format? We're moving on here. And like I said, good win all around for 23i Racing with Michael Jordan, like so with Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace and company. Can't get off to a better start than that. You're 2 for 2 to start the year, and we're just getting started. The race was in Hampton. Our guy Big Glenn was out there. You saw on our socials we posted him, and he was out there enjoying this time out there in the Auto Trader 400 there at Echo Park Motor Speedway. And I know he had a good time. It was cold. It was actually yesterday wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad yesterday. It was a little bit chilly, but compared to today, he got some good weather. But yeah, I mean, they're heading out, Jay, to your part of town. They're going out to Austin, Texas on Sunday for the Circuit of the Americas. So they're leaving my state. They're going to you. So hopefully at least the good racing we've had in back-to-back weeks can continue. So they go out there to Texas, get some barbecue, and enjoy their time out there.
May just real quick. I want to go back to the bobsled thing real quick because I just remember one thing I wanted to ask you. Who the hell does bobsled in Atlanta, Georgia?
Ain't me or it ain't me, and one of you and you were here.
Hold on a minute. Tony, I've lived in the state of Georgia. I've been to Atlanta. They don't call it Hot Atlanta for nothing.
No.
Can somebody tell me how you go from Hot Atlanta to bobsled to victory? How does that happen? I don't even get that. That does not even register in my logical thinking.
You got a good point. No, but I mean, hey, if you have the will, if that's what you're dedicated with, whether it be like I said, the bobsledding or any of the other various winter sports we saw here, probably going to need to relocate because you ain't getting the cold weather here. You probably train somewhere else. Probably go to Denver. Probably go to one of the other colder countries out there, colder states. That's where you do your work, right? But no, I mean it was cool. I mean the fact that I'm sure it's happened for a lot of other people before, but someone from their hometown winning an Olympic gold medal doesn't happen every often. I know she made the front page of the local newspaper and whatnot, but very, very cool to see overall. And I also want to go with Billy here, chant with the USA, 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 and
USA, USA, USA.
yeah. I was about to say,
I got
hey,
a question, Logan.
what's up?
On the bobsled that she made,
Yes.
was there a picture of Georgia Peaches on it?
Oh, I don't believe so. I think it was just in red, white, and blue with Mick Price and stars on top. I didn't see any peaches. Not that the hell, Jay was going 80 miles an hour. I could have blinked and missed it.
Now, Logan, let's go one step further in that conversation. If you don't mind, if you'll placate me just for a second, we wait for Tony to come back. Placate me on this. What is the state song of Georgia?
Oh, that is Georgia on My Mind.
By who?
Oh, what the hell is the guy name? Help me out here. What's his name? I know his name. Oh,
You don't know who Ray Charles is?
Ray Charles. Yes, I know. I knew the state song. I just didn't know the artist.
Please forgive my white Caucasian brother. He does not know his own. Hold on, no, Logan. Just give me a little bit. Logan, a little bit of latitude. A little bit of latitude here. Please forgive my Caucasian brother. He doesn't know the history of his state. Let me enforce you on the history of the state. Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles is a theme song. What I'm saying to this, Logan, is this. You know what would have been really awesome? You know how in every Olympics they raise the flag and you hear the national anthem, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
You know how they raise the flag and it gives you the national anthem, right? When she won the event and the national flag is going up, why was Georgia on My Mind not being played? I'm just saying.
Someone messed up there. I ain't gonna lie, someone messed up here. And Jay, just one more here for the U.S. with the hockey team. We got here the bald eagle just decimating the goose here.
Oh my God, I love that. Tony, now that you're back, look at this graphic. This graphic is on point, baby.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, and also, Billy,
one more time, real quick. Before we leave hockey and we transcend to whatever our next topic is, one time, guys, I want 3 USAs, and then we're going to transcend to whatever Tony has next. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. USA. USA. USA.
We suck.
I'm sorry. If you're not tuning in, this is America. No, I can't say that. If I say that, that could be considered rude.
Hey, also,
that was our best.
Jamaica bombs. Why are they training Jamaica for bomb?
Cool runnings. Oh my God. Is it just me? But when you hear Jamaica bobsled, I don't know his name, but the young kid with the dreads, that was the guy in the front. Cool running. I'm sorry, that goes through my brain. I apologize. Billy Buzz says, how about the 4 team members, USA bobsled team, 3 tripped and driver was only 1. Did you take? You know what? You know what that means? You know what that means, Billy? That no matter what happened. Hold on. You know what that means, Billy? I'm gonna tell you what that means. That even when we falter, the American spirit continues.
It flies high. There we go. We got Joe one more time here with the USAs. All right, Tony.
I'm not very much a dramatics, but sometimes my drama class comes out in me, and that's what I learned in drama class. It's all about how you present the information. Tony, what's our next topic, please?
Sorry if I had to leave, guys. I got an electrician here working on something. I had to get with him.
It's okay. I got a plumber right now that's working in my house, so I understand.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Got some sad news. Unfortunately, going to end the show. Unfortunately, NFL, also college player played high school football here in Indiana. Rondell Moore played at Purdue college football. He started his career was the Arizona, played with the Falcons, and then last team he was on was Minnesota. Unfortunately, took his own life, I believe, a couple of days ago. Very sad thing. Had another Purdue player, I believe he was a basketball player who was about 24, 25 a couple years ago, also took his life. So, so some unfortunate things for these young athletes. I think we tend to forget sometimes. Everybody's got issues. Everybody got problems. No matter if you're a professional athlete or an actor or actress, or even if you're successful or seem to be successful, things aren't always roses, and things can be tough. So, definitely want to give our condolences to his family and friends. Very sad thing. Jay, you got anything to say on this?
Yeah, I really do. First of all, I don't want to end this show on a sad note. So I do have one topic, Tony, with your blessing. I have one topic after this that I want to end the show on, so that way we can end it on a little bit more of a happier note and not on a somber note. This is very personal to me. It's very, very personal. Very, very personal. My stepson ended his life via suicide. Charlie, I love you, and rest in peace where you are. I've had soldiers commit suicide that I've cut them down off of, and it's not a happy thing. I worked at the corrections institution after I got out of the military, and I had a young man in solitary confinement take his life on my watch. So this hits very, very, very close to home. This young man, sports clearly was his life. He identified himself with sports, and when sports was no longer an option due to his physical limitations, he did not know another way out. And the only other way he knew out was to take his life. And that really, really, really resonates. And if anybody's watching this broadcast, we are not a show built on political values. We're not a show built on anything else other than sports. But I will say this show, if it could benefit somebody that may be watching this show as a means of escape of what they're dealing with in their life, and they look at sports as a way to escape their own personal traumas, whatever those traumas may be. Number one, thank you for tuning in, and I hope that we can continue to give you the level of entertainment that can provide you an escape from your current situation. If anybody watches this, I hope that you will reach out to somebody, whether it be 988, which is a suicide number, or 911, which is your emergency local number. If you don't have anybody in your family to reach out to or talk to about whatever it is you're going through in this life, just know that suicide is a temporary or a permanent fix. I want to get that right. Suicide is a permanent fix to a temporary problem. It wasn't back that long ago in my life. In 2016, after I've come off my 7th combat deployment, and all the things I just told you about that I've dealt with in terms of suicide, it's not the way to go. It just isn't. I've lost personal family member. I lost my stepson to suicide, and I've lost soldiers to suicide. It's just not the only solution. I know at that particular time, you may think it is the way to go, but it's not. And you say, well, Jay, you talk about situations. How do you know? Because I put a gun in my mouth, and I almost took my life. And I thought about my mom, and I thought my dad, and I thought about my sister. And if I pull that trigger, which only takes 2.6 pounds per square inch to trigger, what is that going to be the lasting effect that it leaves on them? And that's why I took the gun out of my mouth, and I went and got therapy. And I have since on the road recovery, and I'm still on the road recovery. I still have thoughts of suicide on a daily basis. But with therapy, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. And this young man, I'm going to tie it back into this conversation. This young man took his life on something that at his point in time thought was the end of the world, but it's not the end of the world. It's just the end of a moment in your life. And there's always something else that you could transition into. There's always something else that a higher power, whatever your higher power is, my higher power is Jesus Christ. So in my particular instance, Jesus Christ always has something that I can transition into. In this point, my transition point was into podcasting. My transition point is to talking sports with Logan. My transitional point is talking sports with Gonzo. My transitional point is talking sports with Tony, OG Tony. And that's how I have transferred my need for what I needed in my life. And podcasting gives me what I need in my life to fulfill that void. So I don't want to stay too long on this point, but I just want anybody that hears this broadcast, if you ever think about that type of ending to your life, don't do it. There's another way out. There's resources available to you. You just have to reach out for those resources. Then that your permanent solution to a temporary problem, it's not the way to go. That's all I got to say on it.
Logan?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, everyone was obviously shocked when this news came out the other day. He's only 25, right? I mean, he lived a quarter of his life. Was a super talented player. We all know in college. We talked about him then at Purdue, and made a good impact in the league. Like I said, unfortunately for his career, injuries got the best of him. Bounced around at the end of his playing career from team to team. And like I said, for whatever the reason may be, we will never know. He decided to take his own life, unfortunately. But I do kind of want to segue this. And just for anyone out there who's listening, if you're gambling on sports, if you have a bet on sports, and it does not go your way, do not, I repeat, do not type any insensitive, suicidal messages to these players, to their families, to their loved ones.
Amen.
Because we see reports of that every day, of some athlete, some celebrity, musician saying, here's this racist, here's this mean tweet, here's this home address for my family, from someone who was upset over $50 or whatever it may be. So to those people out there that live with that kind of vitriol and darkness in your heart, just think twice before you hit send. And by doing that, by not even thinking about it, you can save who knows how many amount of people. For Rondale Moore, for his loved ones, his family, his friends, and everyone who was affected by this on a more personal level, other than just some spectators like we are who watched his career. We all hope that you get the proper guidance, whether it be therapy or whatever route you decide to go down in this tough time as you heal after this tragic occurrence. Let's get for Rondale Moore. Sad to see he left at such a young age, but like I said, we hope, prays for his family, that they can get through this as best as they can. Tony.
Amen.
Yeah, definitely, guys. I agree. Jay, you said we had something else you wanted to touch on real quick?
Okay. Back to sports, and we're going to end it on a sports note. It's interesting to me, Tony and Logan. I'm going to give you a scenario that I think is highly probable. I don't know if it's going to come to fruition, but here's something that I think would make perfect financial sense. And it also would make personal business and team sense for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to go that route. So right now we know there are two free agents out there. One is cheap because of his injury. The other one will be a little bit more expensive because of his MVP performance. But let's look for just a moment at the Kansas City Chiefs team.
Okay.
We know that Eric Bieniemy has now come to be the offensive coordinator back with Andy Reid, and the old gang is back. The old gang's back in town. Remember that song, Tony? Remember back in the day? Back in town.
Yeah.
Okay, they're
Boys are
back.
back.
Thank you. The boys. Tell you, that's why I love you, because you're old enough to know what I'm talking about. The boys are back in town. Okay. What do we know, Logan? We know a couple of things. We know that Andy Reid or that Eric Bieniemy is back as the offensive coordinator, right?
Yep.
We know that Patrick Mahomes is going to be out for probably about 6 weeks at least into the regular season. We know that they have a pretty decent backup quarterback that can sustain them for at least a small period of time until Patrick comes back, right? We know that they have a need at wide receiver 1 because Rashee Rice has some legal issues. Yes? We know that Tyreek Hill is coming off a huge knee surgery, which means we don't know what his value is going to be because we don't know how his knee is going to respond. But if it responds well, and let's be honest, Tyreek don't got to make cuts. The dude is not a cutter. He's a speedster. They don't call him the cheetah for nothing. This dude is 0 to 60 and 4.2 seconds. You feel what I'm saying, Logan? Tony, you feel what I'm laying down?
Yep.
You got Worthy as your number 2 option. If Travis Kelce can get his mind right and go back to the Travis Kelce that had swagger, the same Travis Kelce that was calling jabronis in his Super Bowl press comments. If we can get that version of Travis Kelce back, not the current 1970s, walk down the red carpet, Taylor Swift, toting Travis Kelce.
You staying in there?
Hear me, Travis. Hear me well. I need the Travis Kelce. That was those days before Taylor Swift. Travis, if you can come in contact with your inner jabroni and harvest that inner jabroni and give me the Travis Kelce that we know is still there. If you don't remember, back in the day, there was a film called Rocky. And in Rocky, there was a line, I think it was Rocky 3, where Mickey was talking to Rocky after Ice, whatever his name is, Calvin, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, Mr. T. After Mr. T's character.
Clubber Lang.
There you go, Clubber Lang. When Clubber Lang did his famous spiel in front of the Rocky statue, what was said to Rocky by Mickey? Mickey said the worst thing that could ever happen to you is you became civilized. Travis, Travis, hear me and hear me good, Travis. I'm talking to you. And I hope that God just makes it on viral on some form of TikTok. Logan, clip this shit. Clip this, Logan. Clip it. Don't say the word shit. Don't say the word shit, Logan. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clip. Travis, this is Jay McLovin. I'm coming to you from my own personal studio, and I want to have a heart-to-heart. I want a heart-to-heart with you, Travis Kelce. Don't become Tony Romo. Don't become Tony Romo. Jessica Simpson took his ass down. And the other country artist, I don't remember her name. Well, I can't remember her name off right hand, but the other country artist, she took him down too. Don't let Taylor take you down. If you have any ideas of ever playing in the NFL again, don't let these women, specifically Taylor Swift, which I love very much. I talk very highly of Taylor Swift, but don't let Taylor take you down. You became civilized. Travis, you became Hollywood. Travis Kelce, you became Hollywood. Don't let Hollywood take away your career. Jason Kelce, you're his brother. Jason, get in his ear and tell Travis, find your inner jabroni and bring back the Travis Kelce that I remember that was in those Super Bowl teams. Travis Kelce, you became a wussy. And take wussy and put P in front of it. And you got what I'm trying to say. Travis Kelce, I need the inner dog in you. You became civilized. I need the dog. The Mamba mentality. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. We love you. I need the inner Mamba to come back into you, Travis. And I need to come in a metaphysical form of a tight end that takes no shit from no one. Travis Kelce, you're on notice. I don't care if you go to New York. You want to try to resurrect your career in New York? Nah. You resurrect your career right here in Kansas City, where you started, where your legacy was born. You want to be better than Tony Gonzalez? Not the Tony Gonzalez on this show because he's OG Tony.
Oh Lord!
But if you want to be the Tony Gonzalez of the Kansas City Chiefs, Tony had the fire and the dog mentality. He had the mom mentality that you need bat in your life, Travis Kelce. And if we get that version of Travis Kelce with Gardner Minshew or whatever backup quarterback they put in front of you, and you put Tyreek Hill at a very budget-friendly contract because we don't know who he is. So he's not exactly the one that. And let's be honest, Tyreek Hill has even said that he would love to go back to Kansas City. Tyreek has said that he wants to go back to Kansas City, so you can bring that brotherly love back to Kansas City, the former Tyreek Hill. You put him in the position of Rashee Rice. You take Pacheco, you take Hunt, and you put them back on notice. You bring in Kenneth Walker, which is the guy you're going to have to pay because Kenneth Walker's going on MVPs and more performance. But he's not going to stay in Seattle. Seattle's not going to pay him. So the Hunt family, if I may, Logan, a little bit of latitude. I have Hunt's ketchup. I have Hunt's ketchup in my refrigerator right now. You can't tell me that the Hunt's family ketchup can't afford to bring whoever it is they want. You might as well give me Sam Walton's.
Oh
Now,
Lord!
Tony, you work for Walmart. You know all the money the Walton
I
family
did.
has.
I did.
Okay? You can't tell me that the Hunt family don't got just as much money to pay Kenneth Walker III to take over the running back spot. Let's get the running game going. Let's get the backup quarterback filling until Patrick Mahomes comes and revives. And we have Travis Kelce, who is now a jabroni. And Tyreek Hill finding his new life back in Kansas City. Now, let me ask you this, guys. I've given you a pretty good definition of what I think could happen to turn Kansas City back into the powerhouse destiny that they're supposed to be. Is there anything I've said that you don't agree with or disagree with? Because I think this team can be back where they need to be. They just got to bring the right people back. And Bieniemy was the first block to fall. Who's going to fall next? End of story.
You know who Travis Kelce is, Jay?
God, I feel like I just gave a whole monologue. I burned about 1,000 calories just saying that.
You know who he is, Jay? He's Rick Vaughn from Major League. Hear me out. Hear me out.
The Terminator. Give me the fucking Terminator.
Comes out with a fastball, Jay, but then he says, you know what? I had some success. Let me try some new pitches. Let me try the eliminator, a curveball. He starts getting drilled. Because you know why, Jay? He gets the endorsement deals. He gets the movie roles, the Pepsi commercials. Or in this case, I guess the Hunts commercials. But then what does he do, Jay? He realizes somewhere we went wrong. And we got to get back. He grows the mullet back out, rips up the sleeves, goes back in the pen, and starts giving middle fingers to everyone. That's what we need. We need that last, because he ain't got many years left. We need that last ride, to quote The Undertaker. We need that last run of dominance. We know it's there. We've seen him do it for 10 plus years. We know, all of us know, from watching him kill all of our teams, that Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends in NFL history. The stats back it up. The numbers back it up. The rings back it up. Appreciate you, Joe, as always. In recent years, he's fallen off, whether it be age, injuries, relationship status, endorsement deals, podcast equipment that you've added. You can factor all of those together. We're not saying one thing is greater than the other. But let's not forget, back before the NFL was even in the Kelsey's minds, remember there were two young, kind of chubby guys at Cincinnati getting in trouble, causing hell in the frat houses, doing it for the love of the game. Just that careless abandonment. But you know what? Their talent was so good they couldn't kick him out. They said, y'all are too good. We got to keep you on the squad. We're going to put you on probation for a little bit, but we're going to keep you on the team. And he worked. And whenever Travis Kelce got drafted, no one thought this guy is going to be a future Hall of Famer. Thought he was going to be pretty good, but no one thought he was going to be this good. You pair him up with a generational quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, who, while he eats ketchup on everything, which is kind of weird, he is still a very good quarterback, who's also getting a little bit older now. We need that fire, Jay. I need him to lock in if he hasn't already. I need him to go into a dark room, not an ayahuasca retreat, and just start working like he was when he was a rookie, trying to prove something, Jay.
Right.
Because it don't get easier the older you get. You might think it does. You might take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit. But once you do, you start to stumble a little bit. We've seen those stumbling blocks. Travis Kelce is still a phenomenal tight end, still a threat. But, Jay, he ain't number one no more.
No.
He ain't number one no more. I remember it was him and George Kittle were the top two for many, many years. And I know Kittle's also been banged up a little bit. But you got some young guys, Jay. You got some guys who've been around the league a little bit, who just came in, who look impressive, looking to take their top spot. Jay, he's not even the best tight end in his division anymore. I think Brock Bowers took that spot. So Travis Kelce, as a Raiders fan who hates you and your team with all of my heart and soul, get to work. For more of Jay's rants mostly. But
I have a
Don't
question
work
for you,
this
Logan.
offseason.
I have a question for you.
yeah,
I have a question. And it is linked to your Raiders. Tony, can I have a little bit of latitude? Tony, may I have a little bit of latitude real quick?
Go ahead.
I have what I've seen in the grapevine, and it comes to your Raiders.
Is anything positive?
Yeah, it really is.
Oh. What is it?
Look at me, Tony. Let me see those baby browns. Look at those baby browns. God, Tony, you're sexy as fuck. Logan.
I lost his mind.
I said the F word. I apologize. And it's not often that I'm ever going to say it. I really am trying to turn over a new leaf, and I'm not going to cuss as much as I used to. So I apologize, Logan. I apologize. Give me a little latitude. Just a little bit of latitude, Logan. But not much, but a little bit. Tony, look at me and my baby browns. I got baby blues. You got baby browns.
Uh-huh.
I don't think the Raiders draft Mendoza.
Who the hell they draft?
I don't think they draft Mendoza. Can I tell you what I think is going to happen? Can I tell you what I've seen on multiple sources and what I think is going to actually happen?
What is that?
All right, Logan. Now I'm going to look at you because this is your team, and I'm going to give you your due desserts. Matter of fact, Logan, could you just put you on solo screen? And I'm going to talk in the background.
On solo. Okay, there we go. Jerry's going to be my conscious in my head here. Hold on.
Yeah.
No.
Good luck to that.
All right, Logan, are you ready?
Let's do it.
This is like our first date. By the way, your hair looks really phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Lord.
This is our first date. Are you ready for can I give you the news I'm going to give you on the first date?
I've got my drink. I'm ready.
You're not drafting Mendoza.
Who are we drafting, Jay?
Can I lay out? Can I give you the situation I think is actually going to happen? What Please. I think is going to again. This is just my thoughts based on what I've
Mhm.
seen on the internet and some of the sources that I've been reading lately, right?
Yeah.
I think you trade out of number one and you get multiple other firsts and seconds and things of that nature to rebuild your offensive line, defensive line, and all the other needs that you have to work around. Genty and Bowers.
Mhm.
Those are your two stars right now. Genty and Bowers, those are your stars. I think Max Crosby gets traded for multiple picks as well. Logan, you're not going to want to hear this, but I believe you're in a rebuild, a full-on rebuild, not a partial.
I know that much.
No. I think you're in a full rebuild, and I think your team is going to harness as many draft picks as they possibly can to fulfill all the needs that, or at least the majority of the needs that you have in your team, offensively, on the O line, the D line, secondary, and so forth. Because you already have your running back and you got your tight end, but what you don't have is an offensive line, and you don't have a defensive line. You got Max Crosby, but you don't have a defensive line. So I think they get rid of Max Crosby for picks to Chicago. And I think Chicago takes on Max Crosby to bolster their defense to a much better level than where it already is. So they get to their next Super Bowl, right? And I think you're going to take those picks, and you're going to get a lot of young talent that's going to fulfill your D line and your O line, because we all know that Super Bowls are won in the trenches. Would you agree or disagree?
I agree.
So I think this draft, and Tony, I think you know this is true now, this draft is very deep in O-line and D-line. It's very, very deep. And I think you're going to take the picks from Crosby, and I think you're going to take the picks from trading out of the number one spot to get Mendoza, and you're going to turn those picks into your O-line and D-line, and that's going to be the first step to rebuild the Raiders franchise. Now, you may say, Jay, if I'm not taking Mendoza, I'm sure as hell not going to ride out with Geno Smith, even though Geno back in those Seattle days was a really good Geno Smith. But Geno's not your guy.
No.
I think what I think is going to happen, and I don't know all the specifics on how it's going to happen. But what I believe is you're going to use draft picks to get your O-line and D-line on point. And I think you're going to trade. I think you're going to trade for Burrow, or you're going to trade for Lamar Jackson. Now, I don't know which one you're going to get. It could be Jackson or it could be Burrow. I've heard multiple situations on various platforms, on various entities that has Lamar Jackson and has Joe Burrow going to the Raiders. Now, I don't know which one you're going to get. I don't know specifically. But I think you're going to get a veteran quarterback, and I think you're going to get draft picks that's going to rebuild your O-line and your D-line to support Genty in his running ability and Brock Bowers. And I think somewhere along the line with your cap room, you're going to bring on the likes of a wide receiver one. I don't know who that wide receiver one is, but I have a guess. Can I give you my guess?
What's your guess?
Can I give you my guess who I think you take on as your new wide receiver one?
Yes, you can.
And it hurts me because I think it takes away from my team. But I think George Pickens becomes your wide receiver one. And Tony, Logan, you saw what Pickens did with Dak Prescott in his first year under CeeDee Lamb, right?
Yep, very good.
So I think Pickens could be your wide receiver one under the right tutelage, under the right coordinator, with the right quarterback. He could be your next wide receiver one, and then Brock Bowers is going to be your wide receiver two. And I think you'll have a third, maybe your third, maybe I don't know your right, but you'll have a third wide receiver in there somewhere. But I think that's your way to the new promised land. And I'm telling you that, Nez, I don't know this is going to happen for sure, but this is the layout that I see the Raiders going forward in the future. And I'm curious to see everything I've given you right now in this conversation, how much that actually transcends to be truth, and maybe how much of it falls to be not truth. But I think the Raiders going forward between now and spring training or whatever they call it, I forget what they call it, whatever, boot camp, whatever.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a different Raiders, and I think this is going to be the path that you go down. I'm just gonna put this out there in the universe, and then we'll see if it becomes fruit. But that's the direction I see the Raiders going into, and I think you have a very, very bright future.
I hope you're right, and I'll give my thoughts here. And Tony, I'll kick it back to you there. That is some great armchair GM booking right there, Jay. And I wish that would happen. And I wish I had those rose tinted glasses, man. But I think they're gonna just rock with the the safe pick. Joe saying he'll take Crosby for Pickens any day. That could nice little gentleman's agreement with the Cowboys. Give you guys. I mean, Jay, you still need some help after you got rid of Parsons. I think Mac Crosby would work. I think that would be a viable solution right there. Ain't same position, obviously. Jay, I think Jay's pleading the fifth on
First of
this.
all, Billy, just if I can address this, weed is illegal in Texas. Unless Gonzo or Tony brings it to me, I don't smoke. But I may be growing my own shit. But that's neither here nor there.
That's a good idea.
Come on, Jay. Allegedly. Come on.
Nah, fuck it. Listen, when you're on PTSD medication, they believe anything you say. It's okay.
You say Dak must go. We'll get into that. I can lead to that old topic on that one.
Tony. Hold on, real quick. Tony, can we put that on the next episode, on Friday's episode of the afternoon
on Friday's show? Dak Prescott.
Should Dak go or stay? Let's make that one topic. Just one topic. If you don't mind, Tony,
he's not going nowhere.
Yeah,
okay. I think Jay just wants to rant about it. He's supposed to get it off his chest. Understood. I think they'll go with Mendoza. Look, he is the consensus number one overall pick. The Raiders had the worst offense last year. Geno Smith is cooked. I mean, you talk about Seattle days, but I really don't care. We picked him up for his Seattle days, and they ain't worth nothing nowadays. Those are some rainy, gloomy days. And now he's going to be a bench guy for the rest of his career. Hell, is he going to be like a Kirk Cousins getting paid $40 million to sit on the bench and maybe start if a guy gets hurt? Probably so. Because look, and I get right. It's not, you can't put everything on the quarterback. You have to put it as a team. The O-line still sucks. I ain't sugarcoating that. The O-line is awful. That's why Ashton Genty didn't have a tremendous. He had some good moments, but he couldn't get anything going because the O-line couldn't block for him for anything. So while yes, the quarterback situation is awful, I think they're going to improve with Mendoza. However, you have to couple that by either drafting or picking up free agency. You have to build your O-line first and foremost after you get Mendoza, because you can't protect him, you're done for. Tony, you saw him play all throughout college in Indiana. You know what he can do. If you give him time to work, he'll pick you apart. But if you don't, it's always a little bit dicey, regardless of who the quarterback is back there. It don't matter if you're Mendoza getting your first start, or if you're Tom Brady, if you're Joe Montana, if you're Dan Marino, if you're anyone. It don't matter. You have to build around, get you a good quarterback with, the GM Spytek and with Brady being there, and with all the additions that they've made, getting rid of, throwing Pete Carroll out of there, thank God. Home turn new leaf, get a new quarterback, build around him. Offense needs more work than the defense. Defense ain't great, but we have a couple of decent pieces. Figure out what you're going to do with Crosby. If you're going to trade him, get that figured out before the draft, for the love of God. Get your picks before the draft. Don't wait until the night of, just for my sanity. And just go and build for the future before you get to the draft come late April. And hopefully you can come out with I ain't saying we're going to the playoffs next year. I ain't crazy. But if we can get to close to 500, I'll be happy with that in the 2026 season. But Tony, I'll kick it out to you. Get your final thoughts here. We can wrap the show up here on this Monday.
If you get a quarterback and get a New England schedule, you never know. You might be able to make playoffs.
I want the New England schedule for this year, not for the coming year, because we know this one.
No.
Will be tough.
They've got a tough one coming up this year.
Yep.
I could see them maybe trading their picks. I don't see them getting Lamar or anybody like that. I think they'll take Mendoza, but I mean, I could see the possibility of them making a trade. But if you went out and get Lamar Jackson or Burrow, you're going to have to give up draft picks. So that kind of defeats the purpose. So that's why I don't think that's going to happen. That's just my opinion. I think they take Mendoza. I think they're going to spend money. I think they're going to draft heavy. I think you may see them go after wide receiver or position players in free agency. I think they're going to draft heavy offensive line and defensive line. At least that's what I would do if I was them, and try to build that team. Because everybody thought New England was going to be 2 or 3 years away. The Raiders are going to be 2 or 3 years away. So, that's just the way. We're surprised that New England did what they did this year. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do next year, even though I do think they're going to pick up some more players. So that's going to change things. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Raiders do. And for Mendoza's sake, I hope they get an offensive line.
You and me
one
both.
Question. One question before you get us out of here, Tony, because you're gonna be the one that gets us out of here. But I have one question on that. Just one question. Now I know, and Logan knows, and anybody that knows Tony or Gonzo knows that you're a huge Indiana guy.
Yep.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that because I'm a huge Texas guy, and that's what we do. But let me ask this, Tony. I want to see those baby Browns. I'm gonna look at them baby Browns with my baby blues. Who would you take as your quarterback in the future?
Mm.
We know how good Mendoza is at the college level. There's no doubt about how good Mendoza is. You're not gonna get an argument out of me how good Mendoza is. I know that guy is a resilient, precision-based quarterback who has been brought up under the Cignetti system, and we know that he's going. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, Mendoza is going to be a future caliber quarterback in this league. I'm gonna tell you right now, I know that. I believe that in my core being. But let me ask you this: who would you rather have leading your franchise, Mendoza? And this is where we are right now: Mendoza or Burrow?
Burrow's been hurt a lot. How old is Burrow? About close to 30 years old, I'd say.
He's on the late ends of 20s.
Yeah, so depends how you look at it. The only thing is I don't think the Raiders is just a quarterback away. If they was just a quarterback away, I would say Burrows in a heartbeat.
Yeah, of course.
But I do have concerns about Mendoza being the number one pick, and not that I don't think he's talented. A lot of guys get on teams, and the teams ain't very good. They struggle for 2 or 3 years, and then they're gone from that team. I just worry that what could happen is Mendoza may end up being a good player, but it may not be with the Raiders. We've seen this happen. We've seen this happen. The thing I like about Mendoza, he seems like he makes good decisions, and he makes big plays when they're needed. Now, he's not the guy that's going to go out there and throw for 500 yards. He's not Burrow. No. But he don't make a lot of mistakes, and he makes good decisions. And it seemed like when a big play needed to be made for the team to win a game or stay in the game, he made those plays. Of course, that's on the college level. Everybody's faster, smarter, and everything in the NFL. But I have faith in Mendoza is going to be good. I'm just not sure that it's going to be with the Raiders, because let's look at the track record of the Raiders.
We have to.
Yeah, so it's not been real good.
Hold on, Tony. Hold on. If Mendoza goes, if it stays status quo, if the Raiders hold on to the number one spot, it's gonna be Mendoza to Raiders. That's a foregone. That we already know that's gonna happen.
That's happening. Yeah.
The only way that Mendoza doesn't go to the Raiders is if they trade out of it with Cincinnati, and Cincinnati takes on Mendoza, and the Raiders get the draft picks to basically build up their offensive line as well as taking on Burrow. And it may be where it's an even trade. Maybe it's Mendoza for Burrow. Tony, the way I truly feel, the way I feel like this should go is and Logan, bear with me on this. I think the Raiders should take Mendoza because Mendoza has a lot of upside. Yes, we don't know how Mendoza is going to translate to the NFL world. We know what he does with the college level, but we don't know if he can translate that to the NFL world. But nobody knows that about any quarterback that they take. So there's a certain gamble. Every time you take the number one pick, you're always taking a gamble no matter what you do. So, okay. So the school of theory is, do you take Mendoza, which is the number one pick at the quarterback level in the draft, and hope that he can transcend into the quarterback of the future? Or do you trade that pick for Burrow and then use the picks from Crosby to build on your O-line to protect Burrow, and then that would complement Brock Bowers, and it also would elevate your run game and Gentry, and then maybe you find your QB1 in the free agency, whether it be Stephon Diggs, George Pickens, or whatever. But Logan, and this is to you, I could take Mendoza with the number one. I could take Burrow and trade out the number one and get Burrow, pair him up with the offensive line that I get from the picks from Crosby, right? And then bring on George Pickens as my wide receiver one to have the trifecta. Your trifecta, which is everything that's ever known to any Super Bowl winning team. I'm using the Cowboys, for example. The Cowboys had Novacek. The Cowboys had Aikman. The Cowboys had Irvin. And the Cowboys had Emmitt Smith. How does that translate to you? Burrow, Pickens as your wide receiver one. Your wide receiver and Bowers, and then Genty as your running back. Is that 4-level competent people that give the Dallas offense the same level of credibility? And then you take the Crosby picks and you turn those into your offensive line first round picks. It develops your offensive line to support everything that you just did on your offense.
I think what they'll do is they'll go with Mendoza, number one overall, because if you trade for Burrow, it's the same situation for both of them, but they're just wearing different uniforms because the O-line from Cincinnati sucks also, just like the O-line for Las Vegas. But like you said, if you do trade Crosby, which all signs point to yes, you are, I don't know offensive linemen like that, so I don't know who you'd even trade for, right? But I feel like you would trade for whatever picks you can get for anything, 5th, 4th round, and, 3rd, 2nd. That's what I want for O-linemen. I don't want guys in like the 7th round or nothing like that because typically they don't work out. They just don't cut it. Joe also saying here that Joe Burrow wants to go to a team that's ready to win right now. The Raiders still at least 2 years away from being a playoff team. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Hold on. No. Let's not jump on that. Joe, I love you, but let's not jump on that wagon so fast. Because let me ask you this. Did we not just watch the Patriots go from last place to Super Bowl? Did that happen, or am I delusional? That happened. Hold on. But how did it happen? It happened through cap. It happened through the draft. But what was the one thing between the cap and the draft that was synonymous? They had great evaluation.
Yep.
Now, what is the one thing that the Raiders have on their ownership? They got Tom Brady. And what is Tom Brady good at? He's good at selecting people that select that, or Tom Brady will give you that NFL experience that will help you draft a coordinator. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can't tell me that you already have your tight end in check. You have your running back in check. If you get Pickens, you're in check. And if you get Burrow, you're in check. Now, you don't think that Joe Burrow wouldn't come to a situation where, number one, I'm only talking about the offense. I'm not even talking about what they can do on the defensive side, because watch this. What do we also know? Trey Hendrickson is on a 1-year deal with the Bengals. What do we know about Trey Hendrickson? He's a very sack-conscious person. Now, yes, he wants $30 million a year, but what do the Raiders have? The Raiders got cap. You can't tell me that they can't retool that defense to free agency, retool their offense to the draft, and bring Burrow in as your freaking leader. You can't tell me you can't take the Raiders in their situation and make them the next New England Patriots. You can't tell me logistically that they can't make that with the cap room that they have and the draft picks that they have. They can't make the Raiders into the next New England Patriots and get to the Super Bowl. You can't tell me they can't do that because it's possible.
One big difference, though, Jay. If you take Burrow, that's going to eat up a lot of your cap. New England did that with a very young quarterback.
And
He
Drake
played
May, yeah.
very well. You bring Burrow in, he's going to take 45, 50 million of your contract. I mean, he's going to take that money because that's what you're going to have to pay him. So I don't think that works. I really don't. I mean, I know it sounds great on paper. Burrow's a fantastic player.
It sounds great to me, but
it's a different situation than because you had Drake May who's not making anything.
right.
So
Yeah,
Mendoza,
I agree.
if Mendoza can be successful in a year or two, that would make more sense. Just in my opinion.
Your opinion, Tony, your opinion is exactly right. I would not ever argue that opinion. And I think that's going to come down to Joe Burrow as a person, right? Does Joe Burrow want to be a Super Bowl champion, or does he want to have all the money in the world? Now, that comes down to Joe Burrow. And what is Joe Burrow willing to succeed to become the next Tom Brady, to become the next Patrick Mahomes? And that's something that the Raiders and Joe Burrow would have to talk about. And look, here's where we are. Are you willing to do X, Y, and Z? And maybe through your signing bonuses or other channels, we can make your money work. And you're right, Tony. And you're right, Pablo. With the way things are, Joe Burrow's going to have to do some maneuvering if he wants to be a Super Bowl contender. Because here's the deal, Tony. At the end of the day, watch this. He can stay right there with Cincinnati Bengals and enjoy the contract he's on. Or he can take a different contract and get a championship. And I don't know Joe Burrow personally. I don't know what is in his inner workings. What I do know this is you at least offer it. And if he denies it, that is what it is. And then we know what Joe Burrow is really all about. So, yeah, you're right, Tony. Joe Burrow is going to have to make some sacrifices if he wants to get to the level of Patrick Mahomes. If he wants to get to the level of Tom Brady, there's going to be some financial sacrifices that he's going to have to make. And that's the part that him and the agent's got to work out. Because if he doesn't want to make that sacrifice, then you wouldn't leave Cincinnati.
No,
you'll just in the current situation you're in Cincinnati and keep going down that road.
And I'll say this, and then Tony, we can wrap it up here.
Yep.
You mentioned Mahomes, and look what he just did a couple days ago. Restructured his contract. You know why? Kansas City had a rough year last year, and they know they have some pieces they need to fix. They need to get right. And by him restructuring his contract, it provides them a little bit more of a leeway to go out to free agency, go out to the draft, and pick up whatever pieces they are going to get to help them get back on top in the West, to get them back in the playoffs, get them back to the Super Bowl. And to Billy's point, there are a lot of selfish guys in the NFL. You get the money, you want to keep as much as you can. But if you want to make that ultimate sacrifice of giving up some coin, going to the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl, just real quick, look at baseball with Ohtani. He deferred how much money of his $1 billion contract? He's making $4 million a year. So the fact that, arguably the best player in baseball, and with Mahomes, one of the best players in football, that they are able to say, all right, I don't need to get paid this much per season. I can get $3 million a year. And then once I'm 50 years old, then you can give me the $400 million or whatever it may be. If you can make that sacrifice, you're good to go. But can Burrow do that? Time will tell. We'll have to find out if he's going to do it for Cincinnati or for Jay's thoughts with the Raiders. Let us know in the comments what you think will happen. Once again, check us out: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, anywhere else on our social medias. And it's been a fun show today here. Tony, let's get your final thoughts here.
Hey, it's been interesting. That's for sure.
Hold on, Tony. Hold on.
Real quick, what's up?
I just want to address this real quick. Billy says, Joe knows you. You know why Joe knows me? Because Joe's a Texican.
There it is. And also, Joe, appreciate the love as always.
It is, Joe. We appreciate it. Joe is a Texican, and he's also a Cowboys fan. So that automatically means that me and Joe think a lot alike.
Mhm.
On that note, we appreciate you, Joe. We appreciate you, Billy, for hanging out and
Yes.
tuning in and commenting.
Yep.
Thank you
On
all.
that note, Tony, please take us
Get us out of here.
Hey, everybody, have a great day, and hey, tune in the network later on at 6:30 GWR. We got a big show tonight at 6:30, so check that out, please.
Oh.
And everybody have a great day.
All right, guys, take it easy.